We will now be having an interactive conversation on our theme today, Buddha, Dhamma and Music. Of this conversation is the 14th Dhardo Tulku Rinpoche. He was born in Kalimpong, India, and was recognized as the 14th incarnation of Dhardo Rinpoche by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama in 1995. He is now in the final year of the Geshe Laram degree, the highest academic qualification in Buddhist philosophy, and alongside his scholarly pursuits, Rinpoche La serves as the head Lama of Gum Ganden Yega Shweling, the oldest monastery in Darjeeling, founded in 1850. The second speaker of this conversation is Drupon Gyalten Samten. Drupon Gyalten Samten, formerly Barkha Madan, a former model, actress and producer, began her spiritual journey at the age of 10 with a visit to Rumtek Monastery, later deepened by a transformative meeting with His Holiness the Dalai Lama in 2001. In 2012, she renounced her film career and received ordination at Seraje Monastery from His Eminence Shodem Rinpoche under the guidance of Venerable Zopa Rinpoche, becoming one of the first non-Himalayan Indian women ordained in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Having undertaken a 3-year solitary retreat on the five-fold Mahamudra, under His Holiness Kyabgon Chetsang Rinpoche, she was recognized and conferred upon the title of Drupon Ma during the Drikung Snake Year teachings in 2025 in Lama Yuru, making her the first non-Himalayan Buddhist nun to receive this honor. Our third member of this conversation is Dr. B.V. Rajaram, who is the director of Kannada Tipitaka Translation Project at Mahabodhi Society, Bangalore. Previously, he has been an expert committee member of the State Culture Ministry and a convener for Karnataka Culture Mapping for Government of India. His association with the Mahabodhi Society has been long under the guidance of Venerable Dr. Acharya Buddharakita Mahathera Bhanteji. He is well known for translating the Dhammapada book into Kannada language. This interesting session will be moderated by Sri Abhijit Haldar, retired as Special Secretary and serving the Government of India for more than 40 years, who has pioneered strategic projects like the Global Buddhist Summit and Holy Buddha Relic expositions across nations, among many other diplomatic assignments. He is currently the Director General of the International Buddhist Confederation. Please put your hand together for this panel. May I request the panelists and the moderator to please come on the dais.
Yeah. Good evening, Namo Buddhaya and Tashi Dale. It is indeed a privilege for the IBC to work closely with the CNSS and Ramaiah University and be part of this wonderful, very humbling event where we are celebrating the 90th birth anniversary of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama and also commemorating the award, the Nobel Prize which he had got in 1989. What is interesting is that, after he was awarded the Nobel Prize, someone asked him that, what is your religion? And His Holiness just happened to say that my religion is kindness. It's just one single word, but there is a lot of deep meaning in it, because this meaning cuts across race, religion, creed, it cuts across countries, it cuts across generations. A very powerful and a strong word. And the message of compassion, the message of human development, the message of universal responsibility, which he has conveyed over the last several years, we are lucky to see and live during this period when this great soul has existed. And if at all there is any time when the need for his values for humanity exists, it is this time, this era, when we are seeing so many challenges. The world is facing so many challenges, whether it is political, whether it is ecological, whether it is social, whether it is economic. And I think his contribution has been immense in that sense. I'll get back to the subject. It's a great occasion, as Dr. Portia Conrad just mentioned, that His Holiness is in Karnataka as we are hosting this event, and we also got a message from him. The theme is very interesting, and we have very interesting people. And I'm going to just start off by I'm going to use very normal lay language, not getting into sophistication. Because I want people here to understand the subject better. So one of the things which I'll ask you is, Venerable, first I'll ask you, is how do you connect Buddha Dhamma with music? I mean, music in one sense here is not just chanting, it is beyond that. Music in the sense that music with instruments, etc. A proper music. Of course, not absolutely radical music, but soft music. So that, its connection with Buddha Dhamma, how do you describe it?
First of all, very happy going today on this special occasion of commemorating the conferment of the Nobel Prize for Human Rights to His Holiness on this special occasion of his 90th birthday. Going back to the question, I think a simple way of thinking is that there are like certain similarities in the Buddha Dharma and music, which I would say is more like psychological in the sense, because Dharma, usually focuses more to bring out what is inside. And music also, has that kind of capability or the ability to sort of reach out inside you and recognize, like what is inside. And then, music obviously kind of invokes different kind of emotions. And the Dharma also has that kind of ability to sort of seek out those emotions and then filter them and be able to sort of control them, those aspects. So I think in a similar way, I think music and Dharma, in simple layman's terms, has this ability to sort of recognize, sort of the more psychological sense and the more emotions. So in that way, I think there are a lot of similarities with music and Dharma, and especially through sound, for instance, right? Through sound, there's like you can reach out inside your emotions through sound, because from sound you can understand what you are feeling inside. So I think music can have this kind of enhance your experience, whether it is meditation or whether it is something like contemplative. So in those aspects, I think there are a lot of similarities, and there is definitely a connection that we can make with music and the Dharma.
I'll just add on to this what you just mentioned. Since you are in a very famous monastery from the 19th century in Darjeeling, one of the oldest monasteries there. A lot of young monks are groomed there. What is the sense do you get among the young monks if the issue of music comes in? I mean, and is there any? Of course, there has to be discipline. There has to be restriction. There has to be limit to anything. You can't cross the line. But how do you on ground see this issue?
So if you go back in history too, right? In the early days, music was there was some kind of a caution with music, because music can obviously lead to distraction, and music can also lead to excitement, right? But at the same time, in Mahayana Buddhism, we have this concept of upaya, which is more like skillful means. So skillful in the sense, instead of asking, is it allowed or not? it asks, does it benefit beings? Does it reduce suffering? And so forth. So I think from that perspective, whether it is a chant, a hymn, or something like even a modern like music composition, if it kind of reduces your suffering, if it has this ability to calm your mind, has this ability to sort of make your mind more receptive to compassionate emotions and love, for that matter, then definitely I think in Mahayana, I think the flexibility is definitely there.
How do you mention, how do you sort of bring out Lotus Sutta and Avatamasa Sutta in this connection? I mean, what is the connect?
So,
I mean, I think Lotus Sutta, except for a few people here, I can look at some who know about it, but maybe a little bit of description and then.
right. So to just get like understand or to be more in the context, I mean, there are a lot of like teachings and sayings from the Buddha, which kind of has this how do you say relation or this connectivity with music or melody, for instance. So in the ancient like Pali like traditions where the Buddha taught, music, even in the monastics, like melody was definitely, it was allowed by the Buddha. If the melody was conducted as an offering or conducted with awareness, then, it was allowed even among the monastics. So in the Lotus Sutra, which is a teaching by the Buddha, right? So there is this thing about saying from the Buddha that goes that if you even mention the name or recite the name of Avalokit Ishwara, which is the Bodhisattva of compassion, and we Tibetans, like we all believe that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is an emanation of Avalokit Ishwara. And the interesting fact is that, Avalokit Ishwara, right? That's the Sanskrit word. So Ishwara, the name Ishwara is the same name for Lord Shiva in Hinduism. And out of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, this particular, Ishwara in the name consists only in the name of Avalokiteshwara, which specifically Professor Samno Rinpoche always mentions in his teachings. So this is the special unique feature. In my own belief, I think there is definitely a connection with Lord Shiva and Avalokiteshwara in this matter. So this is my kind of understanding for that. And anyway, so to get back into the point, in this Lotus Sutra, there's this saying that even if you recite the name of Avalokiteshwara, this gives a sense of calming and a sense of security and safety. So, and also in the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is a collection of the Buddha Sutra. So in that sutra, there is this passage that mentions that in a different realm, according to the Buddhist philosophy or a Buddhist, understanding concept, there are like multitude of universes out there, right? So in that regard, it mentions that when the wind blows through the jewel trees, then the sound itself becomes the Buddha's teaching or the Buddhist teaching. So in that, I think from that perspective, I think it's a kind of a poetic way of saying that if you are open, then the world speaks to you. The world becomes teaching. Even the wind becomes the teaching. So I think these kind of connotations, make you realize and understand that, through sound, compassion can be aroused. Through sound, peace can be, generated. So that is why, sound is such a unique thing. Because we always speak about the body, speech, and the mind, right? Our body, the speech, and how do we connect to ourselves? We connect to ourselves by having this concept of saying, this is my body, this is my speech, and this is my mind. What is it? Even the Buddha, when you try to identify the Buddha, it is the Buddha's, either is the Buddha's form, which is Buddha's body, or the Buddha's speech, which is Buddha's sound and the mind. And this can be explained in a very simple way, or it can even be connected in a very subtle way too. Because according to the Tantrayana, which is the highest form of like Mahayana Buddhist tradition, our sort of body, speech, and mind can be transformed into the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. And the Buddha's body, speech, and mind is supposed to be all-pervasive. Because the mind is all-pervasive, as you know. So I don't want to go like too deep into that, but that's, I think, a simple way of understanding it, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think His Holiness has always mentioned that when you talk about compassion, when you talk about loving kindness, metta, and of course karuna, and then music plays a critical role in this, binding hearts together, and of course, those who are in the film industry, they will know that how music breaks barrier and reaches out to people across the board. But I'll come to something, Galson. It's very interesting to talk to you on this subject because you are actually from, you have served in the entertainment industry where music, of course, plays a very important role. And you've lived with music, you understand the essence of music. So to hear from you, and now that you've, crossed over and transited to a different lifestyle, which is completely into Dhamma, your dedication, commitment to Dhamma, and we know you very well. I mean, how sort of committed you are to the cause, and we've seen you in different locations and very diligently being present at various events and venues, and so it has always struck me that. For somebody like this, it's very rare to see someone coming in from a different world into this world. How do you, from you, it is will be very interesting to hear as to how do you correlate music from where you come and where you are.
Good evening, Ashidalek and Namaste. And thank you so much for having me today for this wonderful discussion and also to be commemorating such a wonderful and great achievement by a holy being. Really inspiring us to do our best to it. Even if we can embody 1% of His Holiness's activities and his compassionate ways of being around us, I think will itself propel us to a different level of understanding of what Buddha Dhamma is all about, what true bodhicitta is really about. And coming to this amazing topic, when I first heard that this is the topic for this particular event, I actually let out a laughter, and then when you said come for it, I was like, okay, I know where I'm going to be cornered in one way, but at the same time, it's something that really touches my heart. Having lived as a professional actor for 17 years, having produced movies and being in the film industry by Bollywood, the music is the intrinsic part. And then coming to the Dharma, where the very first, one of the vows that we take is that no more music, dancing, no entertainment. It's not, for me, it was like, what are you saying? But yes, I do understand why the great sage Shakyamuni had put down that rule. It was to discipline our minds, and he was not saying this to be averse to an expressive form of art. Even before we say I'm a Buddhist or I'm a woman, I am a human being, and what makes this universe is this very nad, the vibration from where this whole universe is created. And then in the meditation, we know that eventually we are resolving back into this vibration is now, you know. So having understood the fact that yes, you are allowed to partake in music, create music, and we have an amazing array of instruments in our Tibetan monasteries, right from the gadings to damaros and bells, and you've been trained how to use them and to create the right sound, That was a big relief to know that yes, I would be connected with it, but for the right reasons. And just how, as Rinpoche just said, music has great transformative power. And the entire basis of Buddha Dharma is to create transformation. So that was a big solace, and at the same time, sort of the artist mind saying, no way, you're not disconnected from art, you just have to have it in a different perspective. And this is what the shift really has to be, Everything, especially in the Maya and Vajrayana tradition, everything that we are engaging in, we have to transform it to uproot our kaleshas, our afflictions, We don't say, no, you're not good. No, there is a beauty in you, and I need to know how to use that beauty for my transformation so that I can subdue my mind and then help others as well, There is a very beautiful sutra that, if I may, it's a sutra that comes, it's not there in the Tibetan canon yet. I have only read about it in the Chinese aspect. It's a sutra that came from the Kinnara Raja, Dhamma. So it is actually called the question of the Kinnara king Dhamma. And he was a Kinnara, so they are celestial beings, half human and half could be a bird or an animal. Whereby there's this gathering happening at Rajgriha, and Buddha Shakyamuni is present there. Of course, when Buddha Shakyamuni is there, there's also a gathering of high-level bodhisattvas. And there the communication with the high-level bodhisattvas is happening through telepathy and a deep-rooted sort of a samadhi, And then there is this Kinnara king, and he has his question. So this whole sutra touches upon what is a bodhisattva, the conduct of a bodhisattva, what is emptiness. And then they make an offering to Buddha by playing music. So Dhruva Raja is actually one of the ace musicians. And the way they make this offering, the Buddha, there are some levels of arhants present there who starts to sway, to the fact that the Bodhisattva, who's the intercalator of the whole dialogue happening there, is looking at them speechless. Like, how can you let go of your vow and sway? To the extent that Buddha goes to that realm, he is transported to the realm of the Kinnaras, where they do extensive offering of not just veena, or not just of other instruments, but then he starts to see the breeze, as Rinpoche was saying, touching a beautiful tree. And then Buddha says to them, the way you make your music, it's an offering for the bodhisattvas to transform. It's an offering to each and every sentient being to awaken true compassion within them. The way you present your music has touched me. And then he prophesizes Dhruva Raja to become a future Buddha. That's the power of music that we talk about in Buddha Dharma.
Very interesting. I mean, this particular aspect is something which really opens our eyes to, the Guru's thinking, the Tathagata, Gautama Buddha's way of looking at music. Now, how do you see chanting and melodic relations influencing the meditative mind differently than the silent meditation? One is the silent meditation, but if you bring in melodious meditation, which is a form, which how do you see that? It's a bit of a tricky question, but when you talk about music and
actually they are intertwined. Like I said, we are made of vibrations, and even if we use a very beautiful chant of Om Mani Padme Hum, and after every chanting is quietened down, we are encouraged to stay with the vibration of the chant. Eventually, take your mind to a quietude place. So you're using music, you're using the chant or you're using the vibration, the sounds coming out of implements to invoke a certain kind of devotion in you, maybe a certain kind of concentrative meditative equality in you. Because not everybody, see, we are very beings, not everybody can just sit in silence and then get mental peace. Maybe someone's mind is agitated. Maybe listening to some calming music, some flute, some piano, or whatever is there, a choice of music, something calming can help them relax. An agitated mind cannot meditate. It has to first relax. And if you use music for that purpose, you're doing a good service to yourself. So from a chant, we recite Om Mani Padme Hum loud, and as we do in the monastery, and like Om Zela just now made such a beautiful, invocation. And if you sit down with the invocation and that prayer, and then you allow that vibration to work with your inner senses and inner channels and wings in the truest sense, then it propels you to this kind of quietude that you're looking for and to connect with. So I think they are complementing each other, Yeah.
Rinpoche, I wanted to ask you, simple, I'm just going back to you. In monasteries, for instance, your monastery where you have a large number of young monks who are growing up and all, do you sort of teach them or tell them or inform them or brief them on the element of music? Or if somebody has this qualification, is there any special access given to him to musical instruments? Or do they, or certain number of them, do they practice certain musical instruments like...
Like I said before, I think like the Buddha himself, allowed music as a medium or a channel to make offerings, right? So, and in the Vinaya itself, the Buddha taught, which was firstly Pali, that was the first language the Buddha taught, and later on the Mayan tradition go to Sanskrit and so forth. But in that first Pali language itself, Buddha taught that music, if for the offering of, for the cause of offering to the Buddha, is allowed, can be conducted. And at the monastery, of course, we have monks who do cymbals, like bells, but they are not for the purpose of, like we said, to distract you or sway you away from the path or distract you from meditation. But instead, it is used as a way to invoke powerful emotions and even to strengthen the meditation. Because, of course, there is the concept of silent meditation also there, but meditation is a very ambiguous word. Meditation doesn't mean that you have to sit silently in one place. There is two types of meditation, which is analytical meditation, and the other one is stabilized meditation. So all forms of meditation covers either has to be two of them. So obviously, when you use music or when you use sound to meditate, it will be, of course, more of a way of analytical meditation, because you are obviously listening to different tunes, different rhythms, and concentrating on your breath and so forth. But at the same time, it can also complement the silent meditation, like Samdhinla said. Yes.
Thank you. I'll now come to Dr. Saab. So, Dr. Rajaram, I gave you this opportunity because it's better to listen to people who are from the monastic order.
Yeah.
Of course, you are very well versed with them, but then their views on music is something which we heard.
Yes.
And you've done tremendous work in terms of projecting indigenous art and folklore on the screen through visual and audio presentation. You're very renowned in this area. People in Karnataka know you very, very well, and also in the rest of the country. Having heard their perspective, really speaking, how do you look at this issue?
Sir, I come from Mahabodhi Society, Bengaluru, where I worked for about 3 to 4 decades with our Guruji, Venerable Dr. Acharya Puttarakita. He comes from Theravada tradition, that is from Pali tradition. Buddha started teaching in Pali language. The same tradition from Guru Shishya, like that we have the Sangha from 2600 years. So there is a very continuous tradition there. In that tradition, Bhagavan says, you have been in music, in Loka, that is in the world. You are always enjoying music in the Loka. You are entertained. You want that. If you want to become a monk, if you want to calm down your mind, you have to leave that. That is for monks only. Buddha never said it is for lay people. For upasakas and upasikas, he said, okay, that you have to do. But for monks, you have taken a new life. You want to be a different man, to cool your mind, to calm your mind, to meditate. So you have to eschew that. Eschew many of the worldly interests. In worldly things we have many interests. We have 3 or 4 times food. We go to entertainments. We play. We fight. We gamble. Everything is there. But if you want to come out of that, at least some part of it has to be moved out. For that he said, Najja, Gita, Vadika, Visuka, Darsana, Veramani, Sikkapadam, Samadhyami. Out of 10 precepts, he said, one is that. You should give up that. So that is one thing. But music plays an important role in Buddha Dhamma as Paritta Sutta, Paritta chantings. For the first time in 2600 years back, Buddha himself gave a Paritta when Lichavi kingdom was in famine for about 10 to 12 years. There was no rains, drought, sickness, and all that was there. Then the Lichavi princess went to Buddha and requested him to come and bless them. So he came from Rajgir to Vaisali and recited a sutta, Ratana Sutta, a great sutta of Paritta Sutta, which is in every day life of the Buddhist world is recited. So that sutta was recited by Buddha. It was a recitation. So that why that recitation was there? It is to protect human beings, to give them love, out of compassion, he gave that. Even the Buddha Dhamma himself is out of compassion for the world, he came. Charata bhikkhave charikam bahujana hitaya bahujana sukaya lokanukampaya. Just for the people of the world, you go, monks, you go and tell them the Dhamma. And they just went and taught the Buddha Dhamma and recited all these suttas for the benefit of the people. So there is recitation, but not music as an entertainment. Even the just Visarana is wonderful. Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami. The whole Buddhist world recites this Sarana that calms down. Even the picture of Buddha or the statue of the Buddha, if you just see, is give you calmness. So, more of calmness, more of tranquility, more of meditation is propagated by the Buddha in Buddhism.
Thank you very much. I remember, when, in fact, Dr. Conrad mentioned about your association with Tipitika.
Tipitaka,
Yeah, I was there in Bodh Gaya during the opening of the recent Tipitika.
Yeah, that
chanting
is a great thing.
Yeah. And I remember I've been going there for the last 3 years,
Yeah.
and it's an amazing experience because you see around 5,000 to 7,000 monks.
This
and
year
nuns,
it is 20,000 monks.
I believe so. 20,000 of them
They're
were
all
there.
participating and
yeah.
chanting Tipitaka.
Yeah. So for me, the first time that I went, I really didn't know it's going to be so mesmerizing because you're sitting under the Bodhi tree and about 20,000 monks and nuns from different parts of the world, they're chanting and in unison. They all come from different background, different race, different language, different countries, different eating habits, but the chanting is in one tone.
Yeah.
And it's a great experience. You get lifted to a different zone.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you sort of realize the
enters
essence
there.
of
Yeah,
the
music
melody
enters
of the music, etc.
Yeah.
But I'll just I'll go more into your professional field rather than your actual work towards Dhamma. I mean, this is something which always bothers people, that today we are living in a world where some of the teachings of the Buddha, for instance, anicca, impermanence or interconnectedness, paticca samabhuta, these are aspects which probably the younger generation should be aware of. It's all to do with metaphysics and the world around you, interactive. Every object is connected with the other object. A lot of work is happening in the US by scientists, on this subject. And I've met some people who have been very eager to, get the younger generation triggered by this thought. And they don't know how to do it.
Yes.
Either one uses film as a medium, with music, of course, a part of it.
Yeah.
How do you anticipate this situation? I mean, on screen, something which can attract the youth, which also has soft teachings of the Buddha along with modern challenges and music.
Yeah. See, entertainment is a very big industry these days. It is in our mobile also. It is on TV. It is in films, big screens. It is there. So normally in youth, everyone is interested to witness all this. Even if you are just a Buddhist mind, Buddhist outlook, if you just take it, you will understand that impermanence is there. Every emotion changes, every dialogue changes, every music changes, everything is there on the screen. But it takes years for youth to know that. That is the beauty of that. Because now he's enjoying. He's enjoying. He wants that. He wants all that. But when he goes little older, when he gets into the samsara, then he knows that, oh, this is not the thing I enjoyed. There is something different. There is impermanence. There is dukkha. Buddha never said the whole life is dukkha. He said if you want to enjoy sukha, you should know dukkha. If you want to enjoy, if you want to know the sukha, you should know dukkha. Yes, what are the dukkhas? 1, 2, 3, 4 is it. Jati pe dukkha, jara pe dukkha, old age is dukkha, suffering is dukkha, roga is dukkha. So if you know there is dukkha like this, be out of it or don't crave for it, then you will become sukha. So some people say that Buddha advocated about dukkha only. No. He said if you want to enjoy, if you want to take sukha as your bliss, sublime bliss, then you have to know the thing. As the doctor identifies the roga, the symptoms of a roga, then removes that. That is the thing which Bhagavan has given. There is a story in that. There is a man hit by an arrow. Then he was shouting. Some people come and help him, they want to help him. He said, no, don't remove the arrow. Who has shot? From which direction? Is it of metal or is it of bamboo? Is poison there or not? Then one wise man says, if you want to know all these answers, first that arrow has to be removed. That is the Buddha's diagnosis. He says, if you want to be happy, then remove all these elements. Then you will be happy and enjoy. So in films, they create all sorts. See, we have Western music where it gives very big kick for every this thing you dance. But in Indian music, we have soothing effects. We have two types of music, that is Carnatic music is there, Hindustani music is there. There are many gharanas, and wherever you go, there is one type is there. The music is to realize moksha or God or mukti or nirvana. That has to channelize, that has to take you to that realm. That is music. But our younger children, youth, they just stay up to one level. They don't go to the second or third level. If you go up, then you will realize and understand what is happiness inside, what is meditation in music, and musical meditation.
So we were trying to figure out that we are in this world of social media and all the kids have the mobile set and everything is sort of out of the mobile, whether it's music, whether it is stories, movies, whatever it is. So we were wondering, how to use the mobile, to generate music, which could probably be in a software, associated with Buddha's teachings. And we were a little cautious of the fact that it may lead to some objections. We are not going to propagate, hard ideology, but few words. I mean, there are some monks who do it.
For the laity, for the lay people, it is very much needed. Bhagavan has said, prohibited that you need not indulge in it because you were in it. You are in it, enjoying it. When you come out of it, don't do it. Because there are many sutras, Nata sutras are there in Buddhist philosophy, where an actor becomes a monk and he was always very active on doing all that and imitating other monks and all that. Bhagavan says, yes, you have done enough. You have done enough in the real life. Now calm down, cool down, be a different man. Like that. So, for lay people, we have done plays, we have done films, we have done soothing musics for them, and we can give them music, melodious music, where they can come to Dhamma. Dhamma is righteousness. It is not only Buddha Dhamma or any other religion. Everything is righteousness. Live righteously. Have a positive mind, no negative mind. Even Emperor Ashoka built so many rock edicts where he says, Sarva Dharma Samanvaya, it should be there. Be happy. Don't force anything on anybody else. Be happy. So you control yourself, you practice your own music or practices, but don't make it a forcible one on others.
Thank you very much. And just to mention before winding up, this urge in IBC to find some way of connecting with the youth has always been there. And in 2023, when we had the Global Buddhist Summit, where Sanjit Gyaltsen was there, she was also there. His Holiness was present, and he happened to mention in one line exactly what I said. That it's painful to realize that our younger generation they're not aware of the values of wisdom, compassion, and I'm worried how to teach them. He just said that, and there was a Malaysian engineer, tech engineer who was attending that conference. He's known to us, so he went back to Malaysia and he started working on a AI chat platform. It's called Norbu. In fact, all youngsters, you must note down and check out norbu.ai. And he went and he sort of generated it. He worked for about a year on it. He created it, and he's got it in several languages. I mean, different Indian languages as well as in Russian, Chinese, Tibetan, and it's fantastic because what it does is even for the youth. And he was telling me that in fact, he handed it over to IBC. So if you go to the site, you will find that we are the international supporters of Norbu, and we helped him in getting this thing generated. And he was saying that maximum questions are from the youngsters. Questions which they can't ask their friends or their parents, and it comes out when the answers are in the Dhamma form. Nothing beyond that. So this is what the Dhamma is going to tell you in this situation.
Yes.
So we did that, but of course, next step will be maybe music in some way, and we'll consult you for that. Consult all of you. I think you want to say something?
And when I saw that Norbu, I was saying to myself, now I can happily retire in a cave. we don't need living teachers anymore. We can all go in our caves in Rinpoche. But just adding to that aspect, there has been a lot of, if I say I receive a lot of messages from youngsters like how to walk the path and everything. Most of them are connected because I have come from an industry which they relate a lot. Music is definitely a great unifying factor there. And I often say to them, you can use the chanting of Om itself. It's a universal sound. It's the beginning of every mantra, whether it's Buddhist or it's in Hindu tradition or any other. Just the sound of Om. Just the very fact that the voice, the speech of Buddha was called Brahmanad. What makes that speech Brahmanad? The speech that is coming from truth, that is coming from a very compassionate, kind person. The speech that is carrying forward how to uplift humanity, that message. So, and when we have that guidance coming to us, we should not be worrying how we should be able to spread it out there, We should just go there with full confidence. If it's music, what kind of music, what kind of instrumentation, and there is nothing absolutely wrong or unholy about using these modalities to encourage youngsters to come to Dhamma. That's my
Notebook. Yeah.
You can sort of ask a question and a response.
There is one.
I have something called Yogini Sampan on my Instagram. I program her with lots of questions.
What is Buddha Dhamma? How can I help you today? He's asking. So he's asked a question, what is Buddha Dhamma? And obviously it's going to be a long answer. We don't have time for it, but just a trial for youngsters.
The fact that he's saying, I'm reflecting on it, and then he's answering.
Core, aim, 4 noble truths, 8-fold path, 3 marks, Tilakana, practice pillars, generosity, virtue, meditation,
Everything is
goal.
put.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
He's done very thorough research. He's
Yeah.
consulted very prominent monks everywhere in every tradition and picked up the same. So it's a brilliant job done.
Yeah.
So the least which we expect is youngsters to at least spend some time
Go through.
with Dhamma. in
Sir,
that sense.
one suggestion. See, we have the Samatha and Vipassana meditation. Goenkaji has spread Vipassana meditation all over 180 countries. And even now, at this moment, lakhs of people are practicing Vipassana. There, we have youth coming for meditation. That is one good sign where they can come and practice Buddhism. And when they go out, and they are good citizens of India. And we have one more is 100,000 songs of Milarepa. That 1 lakhs of songs, that is music. You pray Bhagwan in your songs. That is it.
Thank you very much. I think Dr. Conrad must be getting a little worried that I'm shooting the time up, going beyond. But I think we've had a wonderful discussion. I'm sure all of us enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.